Senator Chute to prosecute the question to the Cabinet Secretary for Defense.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me take this opportunity to congratulate our CS for coming here today, and also thank him for the service he has given to this country, both as a legislature and also a CS. I say thank you very much, Bwana CS. Madam Speaker, I have 3 questions. Starting with number 1, could the Cabinet Secretary state the number of security personnel who have been injured or have lost their lives while serving in Somalia as part of Africa Union mission to Somalia, and also highlight the government's policies regarding compensation, support, and welfare packages for the families of the security personnel? Question B, what benefits and strategic advantages has Kenya accrued from her participation in AMISOM? Question C, are there plans for the withdrawal of Kenya troops from AMISOM, and if so, could the Cabinet Secretary indicate the timeline for such withdrawal? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Chair, I am before this House to answer to question number 55, A, B, and C. And to start with the question 55A, my answer is this: defense and security operations, Madam Speaker, are conducted primarily to fulfill the national security objectives of our country and our region. And such operations, Madam Speaker, result in unintended consequences, which among them is injury, fatalities, as well as damage and under ATMIS now and previously under AMISOM have either been injured or paid the ultimate price while they are executing their mandate of number 1, securing the Republic of Kenya and its citizens, and number 2, participating in regional security and stability. Madam Speaker, conscious of the fact that battle casualties are a reality whose statistics should not serve to glorify our enemies, but to honor and pay tribute to the individuals and collective acts of the courage and the sacrifice our men and women in uniform perform in defense of our nation. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I request for your indulgence that I avoid tabling or giving statistics on those injuries and casualties to be made public. And our biggest worry is that this will be used as a propaganda tool by our enemies, and more so by the various forms of terror and terrorists in our region and in our country. Number 2, Madam Speaker, of course, when we complete our mission, when the history of our country and that of KDF contribution in the stabilization of the region and more so in Somalia is written, then it will be very visible and invisible outcomes that bring the light, the really value of the sacrifices made by Kenyans in pursuit of regional peace and security. And Madam Speaker, I am sure the committee of this House and even this House, in their oversight role of Kenyan Defense Forces, when they visit our camps, they will have an opportunity to see plaques, memorial parks with the names of those who lost their life in the line of duty, the honor they are given, not only in the mission in Somalia, but in other missions since KDF was formed. So that is the preserve of our bases, is a preserve of what the KDF Act and what the National Security Act within our Constitution subscribes. So in a nutshell, Madam Speaker, KDF and Kenyans have over the years suffered casualties, including loss of life, both before and after KDF integration into the African Union mission in Somalia, now the African Union Transmission Mission in Somalia, ATMIS. While the exact number of injuries and fatalities cannot be publicly disclosed due to security consideration, we assure the House that every incident is properly documented and families promptly informed. Number two, regarding compensation, Madam Speaker, the support and the welfare for the afflicted service personnel and their survivors. The government, through Kenya Defence Forces, is fully committed to ensure that both the injured personnel and their families who lose their loved ones are well taken care of. And the following are the various forms that are documented which can be found as a support policy and system in place to help the families who lose their loved ones or who are injured. Number one, we have a very robust compensation policy within KDF. And families who have lost their loved ones are entitled to compensation package that includes financial support, which is promptly disbursed within a week, within 2 weeks. And in this regard, Madam Speaker, Section 245, subsection 10 of the KDF Act, which Parliament in its wisdom enacted it in 2012, obligates the government and more so the Ministry of Defense and Kenya Defence Forces to compensate members of the Kenya Defence Forces who lose their lives or suffer disabilities while undertaking military duties or training. Therefore, the Defence Council in 2018 promulgated a policy framework through 2 Defence Forces standing instructions to prescribe both the general welfare structures and programs for service personnel and their dependents. That is that standing instructions number 1 of 2018. Number 2, there is a facilitative support to families, and pursuant to this Defense Council and the Defense Forces standing instructions number 1 of 2018, there's a place for widows, orphans, and dependents, which focuses on how we can help the widows who are left behind, the dependents which are left behind, and service personnel living with a disability that they got it during either training or during combat. And this document provides a comprehensive policy framework that guides Kenya Defence Forces services and commanders on their responsibility in supporting the affected individuals. So it binds the KDF, it binds our commanders on their core responsibility to support the affected individuals and their families. Above all, we have a counseling and psychological support that we give. KDF offers comprehensive counseling and psychological support services to assist service personnel and families to cope with loss and grief. Additionally, KDF has established, Madam Speaker, a very comprehensive network of welfare centers, which are managed by trained social workers and counselors. Such centers, Madam Speaker, one of the best in the region, our wellness center, and if the committee and this house can visit, is one that we have at the Langata Barracks on your way to Ngong and Karen. If you go to Langata Barracks, we have a modern, one of the best facilities, and you'll find officers and servicemen and personnel who were injured either in training or within our country or outside our country during combat. We promote, Madam Speaker, restorative welfare program to support both serving and retired personnel along with their families. We develop psychological support programs for current and retired service personnel, their families, the families of the deceased personnel. We have a very robust team called the Veterans Department within Kenya Defense Forces. That even those who retired from the CDFs who retired to the lowest rank, we still have a very robust insurance policy. They are part and parcel of the KDF family.